Hello, fellow creatives. I thought that I would take this time to give you a studio tour. I'm kind of feeling a little bit attached to this room right now because we just bought a new house and I'm moving into a smaller space. So I wanted to give a video of the most treasured and favorite studio space that I have ever had the joy of working in. This is a rental property that we rent here in Houston from when we moved here from Canada. And the reason why we got this space, well, a very big reason, one of them was this studio. So I am wanting to share that with you and share where I've been creating for the last 9 months, and also just to document it for history's sake, because in a few short months I'll be moving to a different space. So here, let's check it out. There's my studio dog Duke. Say hi. Hi, Dukey Duke. That's my beloved Westy Duke. So you walk into my studio and you will see my beautiful floor to ceiling windows. This is the reason for this space. It is absolutely beautiful. You can see my lovely palm trees that I get to look at every day. There's my studio doggy beds for the two little pooches in my life. And this is the setup that I have to put a lot of my upcoming workshops for when I host workshops in my studio. That's just my area to have them up there so that when people ask about them, I can tell them what's coming up. And of course, you can see all of the elephant paintings that I've done to date here for the 30 Days of Painted Elephants project. I'm also a huge fan of mandalas, so I've done a couple classes on Skillshare with that. But here is my creating table. You can see that it is much loved and it has had a lot of fun nights painting and doing a lot of fun stuff on here. Of course, I always have my earbuds and my trusty iPad because I love working with music. I never ever create without earbuds in my ears. And then here is my shelf of paints. So here I have my golden acrylics and golden fluid acrylic paints. And here I just have my student grade craft paint for the most part. And this funky little box is actually a cool stash that my neighbor gave to me because she was moving across the country and didn't want to take it with her. And then these are some of her older craft paints, which a lot of them have, degraded and they're not great anymore. I mentioned in one of my other videos that this is the pack that I purchase typically when I buy my high flow acrylics. I buy them in that pack and I find that it's a little bit more economical. My glue and glue bin, I always use this to put glue on everything, as well as my one and only glue paintbrush. My stash of brushes. Some of these brushes are very treasured, even though they're old and yucky, because these are brushes that my dad gave me when he used to paint, when he used to watch Bob Ross. And one of my favorite memories of us as a kid was painting a painting together, watching Bob Ross on TV. So he's given me these and a really cool little case for them. This is just my stash of brushes and my stash of tools and my stash of pencils and markers, mostly pencils, and wannabe. I was on the hunt for a really good white pen and it took a really long time to find it, but I finally did. And that's the Posca Jelly pen that I use. Many of you have watched my paintings. You know that I use an old magazine for my canvas, and then I rip up these pages and I put them into other work, or I just use these as a canvas and I recreate them so that there's no waste. Trusty little heat tool, a must-have in any mixed media studio. This is my brand new pencil case with all of my Pitt pens and micron pens and gel pens, because I've just started really getting into doodling. This is my stash of Posca pens. These were a gift from me for Christmas from my sister-in-law. What a treat. And then I have about 9 of the Dilution spray inks. If you ever are considering buying them, just buy your favorite colors to start with. I don't recommend buying the giant 26 or 24 pack. My stash of canvases, and of course I have a subscription to Somerset Studios. It's a great little magazine. I think I'm going to change that to Art Journal magazine this year. So that's my trusty little bookshelf, and my table really bumps right up against there, and then I kind of work from there. And then in here we have, some of my paintings. I had to start repainting because I sold everything before we left Canada, so I had to start over again and build up a new body of work. But this is my bookshelf where I have all of my scrapbook patterned paper. These are all of my sketchbooks and different, this is a travel book from when I traveled in Europe. There's watercolor books here from different, classes I've taken, and I just keep everything in these journals. I really like a flat bound, well, it depends. Sometimes I like the coil ring for a sketchbook so I can flip the page over and have it nice and flat. This is my stash of either books that I'm going to rip up for the pages, coloring books, some, inspiration books of flowers and things. I love to put flowers in my girls' hair. Some more sketchbooks and some watercolor paper. These are boxes of stickers and things for mixed media stuff. This is a box full of washi tape. And then under here, you can see my old retired want-to-be. I tried to make my own spray inks, and it worked pretty well actually. But I went ahead and went for this is just a stash of ephemera, however you say it. And then these are just, drawers full of supplies, and this drawer I really love. These are my Stampin' Up! Roller stamps. These are so cool. You just ink them up and then you roll them on the paper, and you can make really cool patterns, pattern paper. Really awesome. This is where I stash my watercolor stuff. This is like charcoals and oil pastels and funky other little things. And of course my shelf of stamps. I used a lot of stamps and stamping on tissue paper in my work, and I just got that cool little sign from Michael's the other day. And I always have a candle in my studio. I find that I am a fire sign, so when I light that candle I just feel like my creative energy is just really gonna explode. And then this is my stash of just mark making tools. So I have an old hot plate, some bubble wrap, some mesh stuff. I've got some apple fritter casings. So same with these little tubs here. They're all split up for my workshops, but these little tubs here all have a bunch of mark making tools like lids and drawer liners, business cards, cardboard, all that kind of stuff. And then this is my stash of smaller stencils, and then I have another big drawer full of stencils and placemats. So I don't know if you guys hunt around for stencils, but it doesn't always have to be the typical stencil place. This is you can hear Duke barking at me. This is a placemat, and so is that pink thing down there, and so is this. So these are actually placemats that I use as stencils. And then I've got some great storage in there, and then just an easel. And then in here is my stash place where I hose all of my canvases that are yet to be, and just this is that case I was telling you about my dad gave me. He gave me this with his oil paints. It's an old suitcase that the ladies used to have for like makeup and travel and stuff. So I love that, and it still has some of his oil paints actually in it. And then my studio right now at this present location also houses my stand-up desk and my office. So I have them both in the same space. So that's it. This is my creative space. I wanted to share it with you before it's gone. I wanted to keep it as a keepsake, and I will never ever forget this beautiful space. I love these tall windows and the beautiful natural light that comes in every day. I don't light this space for the videos. That is just those beautiful windows that give me that light and give me some comments below and let me know where your creative space is. Do you have your own studio, or maybe you're just at the kitchen table or in your garage? I used to have my studio in the basement near the laundry. So really, it doesn't matter where you create as long as you're creating. I am very blessed to have this beautiful space here, and in the next space, I'm going to be converting my formal dining room into my studio because we just don't use a formal dining room. I will treasure this space forever.